Hi, welcome back. I'm Danny Agosto with Steele Rubber Products, and I've got with me Drew Carlson from Carlson Hot Rods. Drew, this 57 Chevy is just decked out with lots of modern stuff, but at the same time, it has a real classic, timeless feel. Tell us a little bit about the story of the car and how y'all came to get it.
Okay. So the owner of the car, him and his wife bought it right after they got married in the early 60s. And they drove it all through college and stuff. When it actually came to the shop, it still had the college parking passes in the windows.
That's cool.
So that was pretty cool. A lot of history. They raised a family in the car. His son drove it some through high school. And then it just got parked, just sat in his garage for years. And his son got a hold of him and was like, "Dad, we got to get that 57 going again."
Yeah.
And the owner's like, "We definitely do." And so they decided to team up with it together and build it together. So what we tried to do is blend kind of both of what they wanted and give them a heck of a product. So we did a LS3 plug and play from GM, and then we updated all the suspension with tubular A-arms and 4-link, did coilovers all the way around.
So she rides just as good as she looks.
She does. It's an amazing ride. It handles outstanding. We widened the rear wheel tubs 2 inches, so we get a little fatter rear tire under there. With the 525 horse motor, it could use a little more rubber in the back.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be able to control it.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you've got going on the interior of the car.
So the interior, we actually tried to blend a more modern look and the kind of the original classic 57 styling. We used the original seats, the original door panels, all that stuff. And then we did a leather for everything, and we found a cloth insert that had a very classic, elegant feel to it. But then we also used some more modern stitching. We kind of based the stitching pattern off of like a 2018 Cadillac. It's kind of updated a little bit more.
Yeah, I noticed that whenever I was looking at it. It's actually a really kind of seamless mix between the vintage and modern. I mean, obviously it's been redone, but it very well could have just come in this car. It looks right in the car.
That's what we were shooting for. We used the Dakota digital gauges, so that gave it a much more modern feel to it. But at the same time, we kind of kept the dash all stock looking. We used vintage air sure fit kit, so we were able to use the original controls, but have all the electronic capabilities of the more modern ACs.
What about some of like the trim and the glass? Is that original or is that aftermarket?
It's actually all aftermarket stuff, which comes with some of its own complications.
Sure.
Everything's made by a different company,
Right.
and not 100% off of a GM form.
Right.
So it takes a lot of additional time to make all the trim fit, all the glass to fit
Sure.
seamlessly.
Yeah, because you got a glass from one company, a rubber gasket from another,
Right.
and then the trim from yet another. So making all those work seamlessly. You did a great job with it, but that's obviously a skill that's developed. I mean, that's a lot of detail work in there.
It's a lot of detail, a lot of patience, a lot of time.
So what might be like a tech tip for someone who's working with weather stripping, for example, with glass or with some of the trim that goes around, or just pieces that, you have to make any kind of detailed move on. What's a tech tip that you can give someone who's working in their garage?
A couple of the things. One of the big things is when you're putting on your door handles or even your mirrors, there's the rubber gasket that goes between the body panel and the door handle. When you tighten that all down, it'll squish out just a little bit.
Yep.
So what we'll do is we'll get it all snug down, and we'll mark it, we'll pull it off, and trim it with a razor blade and make it so it's very tight around those pieces. And then another thing, especially with like trunk gaskets that are just one long continuous piece, installing them, always make sure that you tape it down and do some test fitting, because sometimes, especially in the corners, what you'll have to do is pull it a little tighter and glue it down. That way it's not so tall, so that your deck lid will fit flush to the body.
Yep.
And then when you got to put your seams together, we always leave those just about 1/4 to 3/8 longer than what needs to be. And then we'll use some Gorilla Glue, the gel.
Yep.
Put it on both ends and just push it together. And it gives you a really nice seam.
So that way the seams kind of always pushing together,
Right.
rather than trying to stretch, pull apart.
Right.
No, that's a good one.
And then it seals it up so that when water does go in, it doesn't slide past it or anything.
Absolutely.
It does what the seal's supposed to do.
And I've seen a lot of things like that. I've seen gaskets on cars with the door handle gasket, exactly what you're talking about. It fits, but as soon as you tighten it down, it's rubber,
Right.
and it squishes out. And just going back around and doing that quick little trim, honestly, I've seen door handle gaskets, and I noticed that right away is how good that looked and clean.
Yeah.
As far as some of the weather stripping pieces go, some of them are much more visible than others.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the pieces that you have that you got from us at Steele?
One of them is going to be the bumper bullets,
Mm.
the rubber bumper bullets that all the classic 57s have.
It's the look of
It
those
is.
cars.
Uh-huh. Another thing is going to be the hood rubber, seal off the cowl in the hood.
Gotcha.
All the windows, windshield, rubbers, and then also all the fuzzies that go in for the side glass.
Right.
You know, that makes a huge difference. And a good quality fuzzy.
Yeah, absolutely. I work in the rubber stuff and sealing stuff. I notice it right away, but I've seen so many cars that are completely finished, and some of those details are missing, and it's what would take the car right to the next level.
Right.
It's just getting some of those, a new set of fuzzies or something like that.
Yeah.
Because they crack, they drop down into the door, all
Yes.
that. So, Drew, like I said, this car and everything I've seen from Chris Carlson Hot Rods has always been, and I call it that timeless look. It's an old car, obviously. It's got modifications, but it is true to the styling of the vehicle, and it still has that perfect classic feel. And it's exactly what your customer is looking for.
Right.
So, again, great job on the car. We love everything that y'all put out.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
If y'all want to see any more videos like this, interviews, how-to tips, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and check us out at other events.